Gorpat. I mean, if I had a cred for every time I've said, "Whoa, you see that?" I would be slightly more wealthy than I already am. The point is, I am excited. The best part? We're going to be here all week long. Get ready for exclusive events, exciting announcements, limited edition ship variants, and exclusive insider access with me, Jax McCleary. There's a lot more coming in the days ahead, so strap in and hold on. Trust me, you're going to want to see this.
Expo, and with me is Chris Roberts.
Big welcome to all the backers out there joining us around the verse for the first day of the Expo.
Yes, very cool. And as you know, the IAE is a chance for everybody from Astro engineers all the way down to hobbyists to get together and share their love of ships.
Yeah, once again, the big manufacturers are putting out all the stops. We've got a whole slew of updates to pass along, and there have been rumors that Drake and Aspera are going to make big announcements today.
And it's not all ships either. The Electronic Access Invitational is holding their finals later today after some intense competition in Arena Commander earlier this morning.
Well, actually, they were just practicing. They're actually going to have the final a little later on in the show. So we're getting ahead of ourselves. We've got a lot to show you all today.
Yes, we do, and you're right. Let's stop talking about it and get this thing started. First up, we are going to head out to the UK office to get an update about capital ships.
Yeah, which I know everyone likes to see.
Yes, they do.
So that's right. Nathan Disley is back for a new segment called Big Guns of the UEE, and he will be showing us some very cool stuff. But first, let's show a little teaser video and then get into the segment with Nathan. Here you go.
Past few months, there's been an awful lot going on in regards to not only the small ships, but also the capital ships, should we say, the big guns of the fleet for the UEE. That's the Idris, the Bengal, and the Javelin. You've seen the Javelin in a disarray of state in the Homestead demo. The Idris has consistently been in development for a very long time now. There's been an awful lot going into it. There's so many kind of factors that you need to account for: design, art, aesthetic, cinematics. Does it play well? Does it feel good? There's all these kind of things going on. The Idris was always the first of that fleet to kind of go through that motion. So that's pretty much there now. We've got one room, I think, that's left to do, which is the missile room. But that's going to be a fun, good task. Leave the best till the end, as they say. The history of the Idris, it really kind of started off as a much smaller ship. And as we kind of do very well in the UK, we make things bigger and bigger and bigger. During the development of Squadron, we kind of realised that really the ship wasn't going to be big enough to suit the needs of the story. There was so many more kind of spaces that we needed to get in there. The hangar needed to feel bigger and better, and you know there was a lot more kind of requirements being driven from shall we say, the script. So we've done our best to kind of stay true to Ryan Church's original kind of pitch for that stuff. Obviously, when a ship gets kind of wider and wider and wider, it starts to look a bit tubbier and tubbier and tubbier. So we lengthened it as well to kind of bring the overall kind of, should we say, the look of the ship back in tow. As mentioned, it's slightly more angular. It's slightly more angular to keep it efficient in the engine. And you know, as you can see, it's just exponentially grown. It's not going to grow anymore. The beautiful thing about the Idris is when you take the exterior shell away from the ship, it does genuinely look like an oil rig inside. It is so packed full of stuff. It's quite crazy. There's very little negative space. Every kind of square inch is used. So we've been as efficient as we can be. We've also kind of, you know, we try to make, I've always kind of approached it in a way of, it needs to feel like a really nice space to walk around, and it should flow. You should never kind of walk into walls when you go through a doorway. It should always kind of, your golden rule is the pretzel design, as I call it. When you walk into a room, you should see your exit or your entrance within 60 degrees. That's your field of view. So there's all these kind of little things that we try to take into account. So when you're playing, you know, the big games like, you know, Battlefront and Call of Duty, you study the level design, they do that very well. So that's something that I've always tried to push forward as well. And also to try and bring in some kind of verticality where possible. So you'll notice there's a lot more steps up and down. You know, there's all these, and it is an absolute nightmare to performance capture with this stuff, but it does genuinely feel a little bit more alive than just this kind of flat plane. The Javelin was always in a good place. I was never going to sweat it. It was always going to kind of take care of itself as long as we kept the primary focus on the Idris, which is your home, should we say, during the story of Squadron. So, and then we've got the Bengal, which is the, should we say, well, it's the first ship you saw. Massive challenge, massive undertaking. It's not as black and white as going in and going, okay, we're going to make this big ship. It just doesn't work that way. You take into account budgets, fuel distance ratios. Can we load stuff efficiently to therefore squeeze more out of the engine? The exterior, the style of it kind of lends itself to this already. It's very kind of polygonal in form. So we've got a lot of planar surfaces that are easy to work with for the engine, and they're always going to light well. So there's a lot of factors that we play to our strengths. When you study